Can you take a moment and picture this? Your soul, before you even graced this world with your presence, carefully selected your family. Not in some chaotic, haphazard manner, but with the precision akin to a master artist creating a beautiful masterpiece. Your soul surveyed this life, recognized the challenges that lie ahead, and declared, "This is the place for my growth. This is where I will awaken." Yet here you find yourself questioning why you were born into a family that feels more like a battleground. Why did you navigate an environment that seemed more intent on chipping away at your spirit rather than nurturing it? I understand. I've walked that path too. So let's explore a deeper truth together. Entering a toxic family is not a punishment, nor is it karma hunting you down. It is, in fact, a monumental gift, a life-altering, paradigm-shifting gift. I realize this might not feel true to you at this moment, but let's dive into this mystery together and unearth the profound wisdom nestled within your suffering. Click to join us at Chosen One Sanctuary to receive more enlightening spiritual lessons. You see, toxic families can act like fire. They burn, cause pain, and leave scars. However, fire also forges and tempers your spirit, refining your very soul like steel. It strips away the rose-colored beliefs you may have harbored about life being nothing but easy or fair, compelling you to confront the unvarnished truth of the human experience. Toxic families serve as the ideal training ground for souls destined to break entrenched cycles. You're not meant for a normal life. You're here to transcend. You may wonder, though, why would your soul choose to emerge into such a fractured family? Let's start here. The toxicity surrounding you isn't random. It's ancestral, generational, an accumulation of unresolved wounds, unvoiced truths, and unconscious patterns passed down your lineage. And you, my friend, were born to bring an end to it. Reflect on that for a moment. You weren't destined to go along with the flow. You were meant to stand out, to rise above, and to heal, not only yourself, but also the generations that have come before you, and those that are yet to come. That is what makes you the chosen one. But here's the tricky aspect. To break a cycle, you must first experience it. Healing doesn't come without understanding. You cannot rise above that which you have not faced. You were thrust into the eye of the storm, not to drown, but to learn to swim, not to suffer, but to awaken. So let me ask you, when you observe your family, what is it that you see? Anger, neglect, manipulation, control? And more deeply, where in your own life do you find those same energies reflected? The raw truth is this: toxic families do more than just wound us. They mirror aspects of ourselves we may be too frightened to confront. This is precisely why it is a gift. In the crucible of your family's dysfunction, you are presented with the chance to see, to heal, and to transform yourself. And as you evolve, you initiate a transformation that resonates through your entire lineage. Yet, let us not romanticize the pain. Let's not pretend that this journey is one of ease. It is not. Being born into a toxic environment is one of the most arduous paths a soul can choose. It demands tremendous strength, resilience, and courage. You must confront rejection, betrayal, and sometimes even abandonment. But with each confrontation, each time you opt to respond with love over hate, understanding over judgment, and compassion over anger, you are actively breaking the cycle. Consider this. What if, instead of battling your family, you began to see them as your most significant teachers? What if their toxicity was not a reflection of your unworthiness, but rather a manifestation of their own pain? What if their failure to love you as you truly deserve was merely a byproduct of their inability to love themselves? This shift in perspective is critical. When you stop viewing your family as the enemy and instead recognize them as wounded souls striving to do the best they can with what they have. When you stop asking, "Why are they hurting me?" and begin to inquire, "What are they teaching me?" that is when you unlock the gift. Here's the reality. Your family's toxicity is not your burden to carry. It's your invitation to heal, an invitation to remember who you are beyond their projections, beyond their expectations, and beyond their pain. It's a beckoning to embrace the power that lies within you as a chosen one. But here's the catch. You cannot heal your family. You can only heal yourself. And as you do so, you create a ripple that transforms everything. Allow me to share something deeply personal. When I was younger, I thought that if I could just become good enough, successful enough, or strong enough, I could salvage my family. The more I attempted to fix them, the more I learned that wasn't my role. My task was to liberate myself from the shackles of the patterns keeping me stagnant. Remarkably, as I shifted, something astonishing occurred. The family dynamics began to evolve, not because I enforced a change, but because I changed myself. This is the power of being chosen. You don't need to battle the darkness. You simply need to illuminate your light. So, let me ask you, what does it mean to shine brightly amidst the shadows? What does it mean to love yourself even when no one else seems to? What does it mean to select peace amid chaos? These are the queries you must address, the questions that will guide you on your journey. The most beautiful part of all? The moment you unlock the realization that your family is not a curse but a gift, everything undergoes a transformation. The instant you stop resisting your path and start welcoming it, you step into your authentic power. Because the bottom line is this: you were not placed in a toxic family to be broken. You were chosen to rise, to heal, to awaken. Let's delve deeper. There's something remarkable that transpires when a soul finds itself amidst chaos, dysfunction, and turmoil. The wounds from a toxic family do not merely leave scars, they create openings. Openings for light to flood in, for awareness to awaken, and for transformation to commence. But here lies the paradox. Before you can perceive the gift, you must first confront the wound. This is where many falter. They evade the pain, fight against it, flee from it. Yet pain, especially that which surfaces from familial roots, is not something to outrun. It is something that must be faced head-on. Reflect on the wounds you carry from your family. Perhaps you were criticized so frequently that you began to question your own worth. Maybe you were ignored to such an extent that you began to believe your voice held no value. Perhaps you were controlled to the point where trusting yourself felt impossible, or the love you yearned for was conditional, teaching you to equate love with performance, approval, or sacrifice. These wounds are valid, and they hurt, they shape you. But they also serve as the catalyst for your awakening. Take a moment. When you contemplate the pain your family has caused, what emotions surge? Anger? Resentment? Sadness? Now, dive deeper. What are those emotions revealing about who you are? The truth is, chosen ones are not merely here to mend their families. They are here to mend themselves. The healing journey initiates when you grasp that the hurt inflicted upon you is not a commentary on your character. It's about them, their wounds, their fears, their limitations. Somewhere along the line you internalized it, allowing their pain to become your own. This is where your transformative work begins, separating your identity from the narrative your family has crafted for you. It involves reclaiming your identity, your worth, your power. But how do you heal from wounds that seem ingrained in your very essence? How do you extricate yourself from cycles that have been perpetuated for generations? Awareness is step one. It is crucial to recognize that the manner in which your family treated you does not indicate your value. Their toxicity does not dictate your fate. You are not destined to repeat the past. You are here to terminate it. But awareness alone isn't enough. Real transformation occurs when you accept responsibility, not for their actions, but for your healing. So, let me impart something profound to you. The moment you cease waiting for your family to change, validating you, or loving you as you genuinely deserve, that's the moment you liberate yourself. Here's the harsh truth. Some individuals may never change. Some wounds might remain unacknowledged. Some apologies may never arrive, and that's perfectly all right. Your healing does not hinge on them. It rests entirely upon you. Consider this. What would it resemble to forgive your family? Not because they have earned it, but because you deserve to experience peace. What would it be like to release the anger, resentment, and bitterness? Not to excuse their actions, but to free yourself from the burdens of carrying them? Forgiveness does not equate to forgetting or condoning. It means declaring, I will no longer allow your actions to determine my identity. I refuse to allow your pain to be my pain. I will not let your toxicity dictate my existence. This is where the gift begins to crystallize. As you heal, you awaken. As you let go of pain, you reconnect with your power. As you liberate yourself from your family's patterns, you arrive at the fullness of who you are. Yet, let's not sugarcoat the journey. It is indeed messy. Healing is not a straight line. Awakening is not simple. You will encounter days where the burden of your family's dysfunction feels overwhelming. There will be moments when you question whether you possess the strength to break free from the cycle. But in those moments, remember, you are the light amidst the darkness. You are the warrior of your own soul. And as you continue to rise, as you infuse your life with love, awareness, and healing, you will discover not only your own transformation, but the transformation of the very lineage you were born into. So let's walk this path together and discover the profound gifts hidden within your journey. Let us embrace the power that rests within each of us as we navigate the complex dynamics of our families. Welcome to Chosen One Sanctuary, a haven for those on this transformative path. Moments of reflection are upon us. I want you to hold this close. You were chosen for this journey, not because it's an easy path, but because you possess the capability to navigate it. Not because you deserve to endure suffering, but because you are here to transmute that suffering into strength, pain into purpose, wounds into wisdom. Let me pose this question. What if what you perceive as your weaknesses, the scars etched by your family, are, in fact, your greatest strengths? What if the rejections you faced taught you the essence of self-love? What if the neglect you experienced fostered your independence? What if the pain you endured nurtured your compassion? This is the alchemy of the chosen ones. We take the darkness we were born into and transform it into light. We take the burdens we've been handed and shape them into purpose. We break the cycles we've inherited and cultivate freedom, not just for ourselves, but for all who will come after us. Because here's the truth. Your healing is not solely about you. When you heal, you also heal your entire lineage. When you break free, you pave the way for others to know that freedom is attainable. When you step into your power, you grant others the permission to do the same. This is why toxic family dynamics can be seen as a gift. Not because the pain is justified, but because that pain carries with it a divine purpose, and that purpose is awakening. So, I ask you this. If you understood that the toxicity within your family was the very catalyst for your transformation, how would that shift your perspective? If you recognize that each wound is a doorway to growth, how would you choose to respond? Remember this, you are not merely a victim of your family. You are the catalyst for their transformation. You are not here to continue their patterns, you are here to break them. You are not here to be overshadowed by their pain, you are here to transcend it. And therein lies the gift. Now that we have unwrapped the purpose concealed within the pain, let's venture down the path forward. The reality is this: recognizing your identity as a chosen one is just the beginning. Acknowledging the gift of a toxic family doesn't inherently make the journey easier. Real work begins when you commit to taking responsibility for your life and your healing. True transformation arises when you make the conscious decision to liberate yourself. Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Let me ask you, what does freedom really mean to you? I'm not talking about the type of freedom that comes simply from severing ties or walking away. That's just scratching the surface. I mean profound, authentic freedom. The kind where you no longer react to their words, their actions, or their judgments. The kind where their opinions cease to control you, their dysfunction no longer defines you, and their toxicity doesn't hold you back. This is the journey of liberation, and it all begins with a singular, powerful choice. The choice to stop living in reaction to your family and start living in harmony with your authentic truth. But here's the truth about breaking free. It's not about mere escape. You could relocate to the farthest corner of the globe and still carry the wounds of your family with you. The chains that bind you are not just external, they are internal. They are the beliefs you've internalized, the patterns you've inherited, the narratives you've woven about who you are and what you deserve. Thus, the first step on this journey is awareness. Become aware of the patterns, beliefs, and narratives that hold you captive. Ask yourself, what patterns from my family am I unconsciously repeating in my life? What beliefs about myself did their words or actions instill in me? What narratives am I telling myself about who I am because of the way I was treated? For instance, perhaps you grew up in an environment where love was conditional, bestowed only upon achieving certain expectations. Now, you may find yourself trapped in the endless pursuit of perfection, seeking validation from the outside world and believing your worth hinges on your accomplishments. Or maybe you were raised in a family where your voice was silenced, your feelings disregarded, your ideas brushed aside. Now, you may feel afraid to express yourself, doubting your intuition, and suppressing your truth. These patterns, beliefs, and narratives are the chains that tether you to your family's toxicity. Until you recognize them, you cannot break free. But awareness is merely the beginning. The next stage is healing, and healing is not about fixing what you perceive as broken. It's about remembering who you were before the wounds. It's about peeling back the layers of conditioning, stripping away the narratives, and reconnecting with your true essence. Now, let me share this. Healing is not a straight line. It's messy, uncomfortable, and often tumultuous. It's a process of unlearning all that you thought you understood about yourself and reconstructing your identity from the ground up. And it requires 3 significant elements: self-love, self-compassion, and self-discipline. Self-love forms the bedrock of your healing journey. It's the radical act of choosing yourself, even when no one else around you does. It's about honoring your own needs, respecting your boundaries, and valuing your worth regardless of how your family may have treated you. It's the profound realization that you are enough as you are, without needing to prove anything to anyone. Yet, self-love isn't always easy, especially if you've been conditioned to believe you are unworthy. That's where self-compassion comes into play. Self-compassion is the gentle voice within you that acknowledges your hurt, validates your anger, and allows your feelings to exist without judgment. It reminds you that healing is an evolving journey, not a finish line, and that perfection is not a prerequisite for progress. Alongside this, there's self-discipline, a critical aspect to consider. Let's face it, Healing requires hard work and commitment. It demands that you show up for yourself daily, even when the road feels uncomfortable, painful, or stagnant. It requires you to make decisions that align with your highest self, even when the old patterns tug at you, urging you to return to familiarity. So, let's ponder this. What would your life resemble if each day you lived as though you were undeniably deserving of love, respect, and happiness? What decisions would you make? What boundaries would you establish? What relationships might you need to release? Because at its core, breaking free is not about reshaping your family, it's about reshaping yourself. It's about stepping out of the roles they cast you in and stepping boldly into the truth of who you are. Here's a deeper truth to grasp. Breaking free doesn't equate to abandoning your family. It doesn't mean cutting them off or refusing to communicate, unless that truly serves your well-being. Breaking free means disconnecting from their energy, their expectations, and their narratives. It means loving them from a place of wholeness rather than obligation. It means recognizing them as flawed, wounded, imperfect human beings, and deciding to rise above their pain instead of being overshadowed by it. And here's the most beautiful element. As you heal, you become a mirror for them. You reflect back what's possible. You illustrate that transformation can occur, that freedom exists, that love can thrive. Even if they never articulate it, your healing can ignite something in them, sparking a glimmer of hope deep within. Even if they lack the words to express it, consider this. What if your most profound act of love toward your family isn't about fixing their lives, but about becoming the most liberated, authentic version of yourself? What if your healing is the very seed that inspires change within them, even if it takes years or lifetimes to flourish? This is the journey of the chosen ones. It's not the easiest road, nor is it a glamorous one, but it is a path filled with purpose, transformation, and liberation. As we draw this chapter to a close, remember this. Your family's toxicity is not your fate. It is your training ground. It's the fire that shapes you. It's the soil in which your spirit flourishes. Each time you choose to rise above, each time you choose to heal, and every moment you choose to love yourself in the midst of their dysfunction, you fulfill your purpose as a chosen one. You did not arrive in a toxic family by mere chance. You were born into it because you are strong enough to transcend it, wise enough to glean lessons from it, and brave enough to heal from it. And as you tread this path, remember, you are not alone. There are millions of chosen ones out there just like you, breaking cycles, healing wounds, and redefining their destinies. Together, we are crafting a new world, one where love, compassion, and truth stand as the foundation. So, I invite you to ask yourself this final question. If you fully embraced your role as a chosen one, if you fully stepped into your power, what kind of life would you create?